Okay, so I just want to use this comment as a springboard for conversation. There's no point in the rest of you going after her in the comment section. She's very firm in her beliefs, which she's entitled to have. And yes, she is employed by the insurance companies. We all need to put food on the table and a roof over our heads. And if they are the people who find her employable, then leave her alone. This is for the rest of us. So she mentions here somewhere in the comments, I'm not sure if it was this one in particular, that South Carolina had done away with prior authorizations for a while, maybe 5-6 years ago, and they found that Medicaid expenditures went up significantly. I think it was like 5 or 6-fold. And that led South Carolina to investigate several doctors for fraud. I think she says they found to have fraud, but actually there was an investigation of a little under 200 physicians, and they found 4 that were guilty. Now, I'm not going to say that there aren't doctors who are going to do bad shit, because just like there are bad teachers, there are bad businessmen, there are bad lawyers, there are going to be bad doctors. But my question here is, if you have a physician who is willing to commit a felony, such as fraud, are they really going to draw the moral line at lying on a prior authorization form? I just don't see someone who is willing to risk their license, their livelihood, their liberty. I just don't see them being afraid to finagle things in order to get past the prior authorization. I just don't see prior authorization stopping them. And again, I will unwillingly accept that there needs to be some restraint, that if there is a new and expensive drug, that a prior authorization may be necessary. What I do object to is having to year after year after year do the same prior authorization for the same patient for the same drug when there is no better alternative being offered. I also object to having to do prior authorizations for generic drugs that are cheap and are not regulated. So why do I have to do a prior authorization for glyburide or metformin or pioglitazone when these are dirt cheap? I also object to the waste of time that the prior authorization forms have. You know the patient's date of birth. You know if they're over 18. We already filled in whether they're male or female. Why are you asking me that again in the prior authorization form? I already gave the diagnosis code. Why do I need to tell you the diagnosis? You already know if you filled this prescription, if you covered this prescription before. Why are you asking me if this is new? If you asked me for the pre-treatment labs last year, why are you asking me for the pre-treatment labs again this year? The pre-treatment labs don't change. That was before. You also know whether or not the patient had an allergy or not to the alternative because I told you that last year. So sure, maybe prior authorizations help to prevent some overprescribing, but for the most part, it's just delaying care.